Hey guys, another episode of EmergeUp here. It's Justin Henry with Emerge Marketing Strategies, and I'm here with Isaiah Ford.
How you guys doing?
Also known as Zay the Barber on Instagram. You've probably seen some of his ads. We're going to talk a little bit about his past, his present, and really like what he has going on and what he sees for himself in the future. We're excited to have this conversation, man.
Oh man, I'm glad to be here.
Hey, there we go. Isaiah Ford, how you doing today?
Man, I'm good today, man. I'm really glad to be here.
Good. So we talk a little bit about, just your past. Like, how did you even get started with this? I know you got a huge barber community on Instagram. Seen a little bit of your stuff, man. But talk a little bit about, how you even got started with all that.
Yeah, so the journey comes very far back. I started cutting hair at 13 years old. It was almost like those very small opportunities of just cutting in the garage, cutting yourself, cutting family, cutting friends. Throughout the high school career, kind of just cut, and really was something that I was doing part-time to sports and to school. But eventually when I graduated high school, it was like, what I wanted to do in my life. I was like, the college thing, or is it being a barber?
Right.
Really just kind of like went through and just said, I'm gonna get my license, I'm just gonna do it. And a lot of you had the nervousness and you wanting to be able to just prove yourself to whether it's the friends and family and stuff like that, and kind of just took it day at a time, and you end up being where you're at today by just the constant days that you put in the work for.
Right. Well, so this is something for you. It's probably been ingrained in you, that entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. It sounds like you're cutting hair in high school. You must have already had to start. Like you already knew kind of what you wanted to do. So you were cutting in. Where were you cutting out of?
I was cutting in the garage. Like my dad, took a little box of wood, cut everything up, put the station together, had a chair, and we just started cutting like that.
Man, that's cool, man. I love hearing that. You were like self-starter. I'm gonna get something going. You got the barber stuff going. So how many people were you cutting a day?
Oh, then at the time, I want to say, I was going to school. I was playing sports in high school.
What sport?
I was playing basketball in high school as well. So it was like after the games or after practices or on Saturday mornings when we didn't have practices, I was cutting people, and I was cutting my teammates, people from other schools. I knew a lot of people in sports, AAU, stuff like that, so I was cutting just a few people. May have been like 5 clients at the time, a day. Something so small that really look at now. It's like you're just crazy to think that where you're at.
Yeah, because it was a grind probably. Like I said, you were going to school, playing sports, playing hoop. Were you good or what?
I was pretty solid. Like I was the type of person that as I started in varsity and all that I wasn't taking it as serious as some of the other players were, but I was pretty solid. I was pretty good contributing player to the team.
Good. So, and were you based out of here, Sacramento, locally?
Yeah. So I went to Franklin High School. I was at Elk Grove.
Elk Grove. Okay, I went to Elk Grove High School.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you started cutting there, and then did you go to college at all? What was your next step after high school? This sound like you start to build a little bit of practice. Right?
Yeah.
You were cutting hair. You had a few. You had a steady clientele, I'm assuming. So talk about how you kind of transitioned into like where you're at now.
Yeah, so in high school I had took an AVID program. They get you prepared for college and stuff. And the school at Franklin was like a lot of the foundation and the system there was for everyone to kind of like be able to be in a position to go to college. And for me to want to be a barber, it was a little bit different route than what majority of the people that wanted to take. And so for me, I said, you know what? I wasn't really the studious type. I would say I wasn't smart. It was just that sometimes I would get so caught up into wanting to be a hustler and make money and stuff like that. And sometimes I didn't see the value in biology or history class. I was so busy trying to figure out how to build some more clients and make a few more dollars. And then after high school, parents at the time, they were like, we don't really have the money to be paying for college and the financial aid and all that stuff. I just was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get my barber license and just see where it takes me. And I had a few good amount of clients at the garage, but as soon as I went to the shop, I went to 25 miles away from home. Now you got to charge barbershop prices.
Yep.
So. And I lost a lot of the clients, and for me it was a tough situation because it was like, one, you we told everyone you're not going to go to college. You're now going to be, in a barbershop where you're going to have to compete. You're going to have to grow your clientele all from scratch. And that's where the social media became like the tool for all of it.
Dude, I want to talk about that, but it seems like there was a little bit of a grind for you. Like it didn't just all come easy. You were doing out your garage for a minute, but you had to make that transition. And it sounded like you had some people like in your ear too, like, hey, you're not going to college, some doubters. What was it like going through that, just kind of taking that alternate route? Because college is where everybody thinks that they have to go to. They think that that's the tool that you use in order to make that next step. And I think this generation is starting to see that you can make moves otherwise. So talk a little bit about some of that resilience and putting that together.
I mean, I always tell the barbers, they always ask me, like, how did you do it? Sometimes you don't really know what you were going to do and how to do it in the process because you were the first person to do it sometimes. And being the first in anything is always the most challenging thing because you have to just work off of faith. And you're not working off of anything else but just faith. And so for me, my dad and my mom both work for the state. And my dad was like, if you're not going to go to college, can you at least get a state job? And so, family worked for the post office. So a lot of it was into the benefits and the security and to have an education. That the things that I wanted to do with barbering wasn't something that they were so fond of. My mom, she wasn't really, she just wanted me to be happy. But me and my dad battled a lot, through that time period. And, for me, my mentality was I just want to get my money, move out, and just not have to worry about what people have to say. And obviously the friends, I saw it, a lot of the friends. That comes with anything. You want to start a business, you're going to have your friends not believing in you, and that's okay. I wasn't too much holding on to what people felt about me. I just kind of did it and kind of blocked the noise and said focus.
Man, so you got your practice going, and it sounds like there was a little bit of a transitionary period there. Talk about the lives, man, because I've seen it. I took a look. There's 150K on IG right now, man, and I know that didn't happen overnight. As soon as you walk into the barber store. So talk a little bit about your journey, man, just using social media to grow your brand.
Yeah, so I would say it kind of started way back then when I was in the garage. I started using social media to post my pictures, and that's a lot of people started to DM me. That's how I built all my clients, as far as just a couple of clients. It wasn't a lot, but I built maybe, let's say, a clientele of 30 to 40 people a week in the garage just off of just the social media aspect.
Damn.
And it was like, a lot of the friends would post the pictures and I would post them, and then their friends would see it and they would come, and I would be like the, kind of like the hottest, garage barber, you want to say, right? And once I got to the shop, all that kind of like crumbled down because one, people were going to me because of location, because they were, going to Franklin, started charging more kids, I had to start finding more adult clients, more people who could afford my haircuts. And when I started to use the social media is I kept posting pictures, but then one day we started to use videos in the shop. And videos were something that kind of worked with the algorithm a little bit.
How long ago was that?
This was in 2015.
Okay.
2015, we started to use videos. And to kind of like jump around a little bit, I remember I was actually going to stop cutting hair before I started making videos. That actually grew my platform. So at the time, 18 years old, I was getting tired of just like cutting hair sometimes.
Right.
And sometimes you get to it to where you're dealing with a lot of clients, you're just around it for so much.
Not just the cutting, then you're dealing with, like you said, the cutting, the money.
And the money, just like sometimes at an 18-year-old, I just felt like, if I could do this, I could do anything. And just like my mind started to spread out. And I was like, I don't know if I want to, do this anymore. But then I ended up making videos, and one video maybe did 10,000 views. And I'm like, what? And I was like, wow, if I could do this every day, and I'm building a couple of thousand followers or a couple hundred followers, and then my clientele starts to boost up, now I could start charging more, or I could start reaching more people. And for a year straight, 2017, a year straight, built 100,000 followers a year straight from just posting 3 videos a day.
3 a day.
And it was all clients, haircuts, and my main objective was to create a viral video every day. It was just to make a video that would stand out, attract people with a good cover, make the video engaging, and just started doing that for a year straight. And some videos would not do too well, other videos would do well. It's almost like the analogy that people say with investing into rappers. It's like, you know, you can invest in 20 rappers and all of them could do trash, but 3 of them or 2 of them could be the biggest hits for you, and that's all that matters. So it's more like a numbers game for me.
There you go. You're playing the numbers right, man. So you were just, what kind of videos were they? You know, you said that you were looking for that viral moment. You know, what was the type of picture that you were putting out, the type of video that you were putting out?
Yeah, so, you know, most of my clients were transformation cuts, tapers, fades, like all that, and I was really just highlighting, you know, 60 seconds of the process of a haircut, you know, whether it's the back taper, the lineup, you know, certain beard work. I was just highlighting things that a lot of people would want to watch. And the main key too was kind of like what the algorithm with YouTube was, is that a good thumbnail can make a video go viral. So it's the same thing with Instagram. It was like a good cover that you select before a video would make the video go well. And for me, I was the whole time just trying to record and find that angle that I would use for the cover. And then, you know, the hashtags, you start learning and you start figuring out what works and what doesn't work. And you start studying. You know, the explore page was something that I just constantly would look at and say, okay, how can I, you know, model what other people are doing? Because you start seeing videos that are going viral as well, and you're trying to copy the system.
Yeah, and it gives you a good ground to kind of pivot and mimic off of too. And man, so these posts were going viral. You said you got 100,000. They all real?
Yeah, they were all organic. Like, I didn't pay for nothing.
Dude, so that's crazy because, you know, that's a lot of growth, man, in 1 year. And especially, you know, you hit that industry, that Sacramento target, man. Like, I think you're pretty well, I think a lot of people have heard about you, you know? And so you've been cutting in the shop since 2017? 2015, you've been cutting inside that shop. Who are you cutting right now?
Yeah, as far as like the type of clients?
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of people know that I charge more now. Like, you know, I charge $100 a haircut. And, you know, a lot of people think that I would go and cut, you know, let's say, you know, Kings players or these high profile players. But really what it was for me was that I built clientele spread out across Sacramento. I every time I go to the club, every single time I go somewhere, it's like I'm running into somebody I cut their hair before. And you start realizing that you build this demand, this popularity with your haircut, that you become that go-to, almost like if a stylist for NBA players were like charging $5,000 to be their stylist, or certain like realtors or agents were like that high-profile type of person. For me, I just wanted to turn myself into that high-profile barber. And so, you know, my clients could be anybody, really. Most of, you know, my clients are anybody, and I just charge what I charge. Right.
Well, you know your value.
Yeah.
You created a value, you created demand for yourself, like you said, and that value is important. You know, and as far as like with businesses, I even talk to them sometimes about creating your value, because you didn't start off at $100 haircut. And there was a process that there wasn't building up an audience that respected what you did enough to say, I want to sit down with this guy before I go to the club. Before I go to the game, before whatever I'm doing. I got my wedding coming up. I'm going to spend $100 and look right. So there was obviously the work that you put in, and it wasn't just a matter of, hey, I'm going to charge $100. You never seen my cuts before. You put it out there for everybody to see. 3 posts a day, 3 videos a day, showing exactly what was going on, the transformation. And I think that transparency, that authenticity is missing from a lot of my business clients when they're coming in expecting to see a message. That's how you created the value. When you're able to just say, this is what you get. This is, I'm going to show you different types of cuts. I think it projected a different message for anybody that wanted to work with you. What was the viral cut? What's the one that did it for you? What's the one that made you take off?
Probably there wasn't one. It was really that it was a numbers game, and I was accumulating the brand, or like the viralness. It was like one video would do well, it would make the other video do well, and you're building momentum at that point. You're building a snowball effect. You know, if you post, you know, a video that does 100,000, this one does 100,000, and the next one doing 200,000, and the next one doing 300,000, then you're posting every single day that everybody's watching your content, sharing it, hashtags, and you're just building and ramping up this engine, and all you gotta do is just keep feeding it.
Hey, I love that, man. Man, so we've heard about, social media journey is crazy, and I think everybody gets attached to the number, but it seems like you're more on the aggressive side, man, like just putting out content that people can see. And I think that we talked about the transparency, and so other people can see, what you're doing, the videos that you put out, like how to do transformation cuts or how to do a specific type of line of fade. But talk about how you're teaching other barbers, man, because I think I love that aspect of being able to go back and teach you, even though you're teaching them how you get to that level, you're still doing it. You're providing so much content for them. Talk a little bit about that journey.
So it was really like in 2017 when I built all that following, it was crazy because I felt that success feeling, but there was no monetary gain. And it was like building a large audience and realizing like, what am I doing with it? And you realize that sometimes, a lot of people, want to do YouTube and all these things to monetize their channels. And for me, I realized that I could probably monetize my channel myself if I created my own product that would be something that would create value for the audience that I was attracting. Because I was just getting more barbers following me and more barbers giving me about how to do a lineup, a haircut, how to grow their social media, how to grow their clientele. And I was like, well, I took, in the past, I, did some real estate deals, and I closed the deals because I learned from a course. And it was something
like a how-to course.
The guy was a mentor in the video. He guided you through how to do each, process of the deal. And I took the course, implemented it, and made a deal. And I'm like, wow. If I did the same thing for barbers and gave them every step, every detail from whether it's the haircuts to the social media to the clientele, and charge them $100, $29 a month, $200, but then they make $20,000 back, $50,000 back, there's value in it.
Ton of value.
And so, again, the mentor that I had in real estate, I said, I asked him, I said, can you show me what you do to sell your courses? Because he sold his through YouTube. And he put me on, Russell Brunson, Jeff Walker, Todd Brown, like these.
Talk a little bit about those guys, man.
Like
I've seen the names.
These online marketing gurus, right? That they're all into cost per click, spending money on advertisement, getting people into a funnel, whether giving them a free product and then selling them on a sales page, webinar, or whatever. And so for me, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna spend the next year focusing on monetizing my Instagram. And so I actually spent less time making haircut videos and more time monetizing my audience. And learning about paid advertisement and organic ways of growing. And with the courses that I came out with, it was one, it was a membership for $29 a month. They get 8 tutorials a month, fully voiced over detailed tutorials. Then you got the social media course, which is teaching them how to create the same videos that I was creating and showing them how to grow clientele through Instagram. And then as well as doing consulting for barbers. So now actually being a mentor to other barbers. And so there was like a funnel step to it that you learn from guys like Russell Brunson, the low ticket, mid ticket, high ticket products. And so you're really just learning about how can you grow and monetize your channel. And it was something that I was doing.
Man, I love to hear that, dude, because it's not just you going and cutting people making money, but you're also teaching another, like, you have a school basically. You're basically the teacher. And so it's, if you want to go to barber school, I don't know what the cost of barber school is, but I'm sure it costs a lot, But you're actually providing on your barber school at a fraction of the cost. And they're learning from one of the top barbers here in the area, and I think that's amazing stuff that you can actually do that through that marketing channel, man. I want to run off a couple just quick things from you too. A couple fun things, as we go. Who do you want to cut? Who is the person that hasn't sat down in your chair right now that you're like, I want to cut them right now?
What the craziest thing is, if people think that I want to go cut more celebrities, I'm trying to cut more like rich people. I had the pleasure of cutting a couple of mentors and a couple of people that they're talking about hedge funds and they're talking about real estate. They're talking about and guys with deeper pockets, right? And one of the things that I've been able to do with the barbering is just network with good individuals. And for me, it's not that I want to go and cut somebody famous because it's going to be an entertaining thing. I want to cut more high-level people so that it can get me into more doors and get me to a network of others. And I have some mentors that when they walk in, they're wearing regular pants, regular shirts, and you never think that how big their bank accounts really are. and they teach me so much when they're in the chair. You know, one of my mentors and clients, you know, is like, oh, like I'm in the process of buying land and building a hotel on you know, something. And it's something that I want to be able to just network with more people that just can get me, you know, and elevate me as I go throughout my career.
Yeah, and it's good to be in bigger circles like that too, because like you said, you're not in it. It doesn't seem like you're in it for the fame. It seems like you're in it to elevate and really just build yourself, man, which is an awesome thing to hear. So, out of those rich people, you know, people with deeper pockets, who's the one person you want to sit in your chair so you can learn game from them?
Man, you know, it's almost like I think about like if, you know, like a Grant Cardone, right? Yeah. You know, I remember he commented on one of my things. He's like, man, I'd love to get a haircut. And I DM'd him. I'm like, man, whenever you need me to cut your hair, I'll cut it. Yeah. You know, I don't care if you want the most simple, you know, haircut. If you just want a hot towel and a shave. Yeah. I don't care what the service is. I know that I'll have 45 minutes to pick your brain and learn from you know, a guy like that. You know, whether it's you know, Gary Vee, you know, whether it's Jeff Bezos, if you want to get a ball shave, you know, just I would love to kind of like have those type of clients that are just like on a bigger scale, and I can, you know, pick their brain.
Gotcha, man. Well, I mean, I can tell the vision's there, you know, and it seems like you have a brighter outlook. Talk a little bit about what you got for the future moving forward. What are some things that you want to do? You know, you promoted your brand, you know, and you kind of taking yourself to that next level. How do you get to that next level, and what are you doing moving forward to do that?
Yeah, I think really just comes down to, you know, you get yourself to a point where I was telling you guys all earlier was about the connecting the dots thing. Yeah. That you connect. I didn't know that I was gonna sell courses when I was 18. I didn't know that I would even have done it, you know, social media when I was, you know, at 15, 16. I remember I used to be that kid that used to never be on social media. All the friends, you know, the girls, you know, the homies, they used to be taking Snapchats and pictures, and you just not be into that. Right. And I ended up cutting hair using the platform as a tool for it, but I didn't know that was something I was going to get into. And so now I realize that, you know, I'm going to keep connecting the dots every day. One of my goals is to make, you know, $1 million with my courses and stuff like that. And, you know, for me, I understand the business so well, and I understand paid advertisement, and understand that social media, you know, cost per click is so low right now that my goal is to just create a team around the social media aspect and just keep growing my products. And then as well as, I think social media wise, there's a lot of people who are, you know, in agencies into, you know, selling their products online, selling more things through social media platforms, that it's going to need the education, it's going to need the courses, it's going to need the consulting, the coaching. And so I learned that consulting and coaching and giving value to people, kind of like expert secrets with Russell Brunson, that as long as you stay a page ahead of everybody, you can teach them something.
Boom, I love it, man. How old are you?
I'm 21.
21, man. So 21, I want, for the last little segment of it, I want you to talk to the camera. Talk to somebody who's in your shoes. You mentioned, you know, when you were 15, when you were 16. I want you to talk to that person who's on social media, or maybe who doesn't use it to their advantage. Give them a minute, 30 seconds, 60 seconds of what they need to be doing. If you could talk to your younger self, what would you say?
Yeah, you know, if I could talk to my younger self, you know, one, it would be develop that skill set or that talent first. I think a lot of times people are trying to market something that they don't have the talent or the skill for. So I would develop the talent and the skill first. And then the second thing, when it comes to developing social media, is it's not about copycatting or being like anybody else. It's really about creating your own ideas and standing out from the pack and being original. Being original is something that, you know, I'm not trying to be like anybody else. I'm really just trying to be like Zay, or I'm trying to just be like me. And so if you can just be like yourself, develop the skill and the talent, and then just start being creative with your content, creative in ways, and pay attention to what you see on social media. Pay attention to the curve. You know, think 2 or 3 steps ahead of everybody.
Hey guys, really enjoyed the conversation with Isaiah Ford, aka Zay the Barber today, man. He dropped a lot of knowledge on finding your craft early on, finding what you love to do, and hustle, man. Putting that all together, because you never know where it'll take you. His social media journey was, you know, really inspiring to hear about his growth, the dedication, and then just even where he's moving to next. I think there's a lot of value in learning from, you know, taking some things that in stride and not knowing that if you don't go to college or if you don't have a normal path, bringing a lot of value in other ways. You know, he talked about how he trains other barbers, and I think that's so amazing that you're able to go back and give that to other people so that they can create their own legacy, their own future, but also staying ahead. staying ahead of what's next. Social media is always evolving. And I think that is great to hear his message. And so I really think it was good to hear about staying ahead, staying an extra page ahead, being able to drop knowledge for others and provide that value. Be sure to connect with us at JustInfluencer, at Emerge Marketing, and at Zay_the_barber.